on the western part of Nilagiri block, which is but Kerala is not well in BIF deposits, but the BIF which is suitable for studies are in this block. Fortunately, this occupies in the Calicut district. That is in this part, Calicut district of Kerala, and this is the geological map of Calicut. And here we can see that the Calicut is also known as Kozhikode, and here we can see that the predominant rock types are TTG and Chanakite. The green patches which represents the banded iron formations, which is locally known as banded magnetite quartzite, because it is metamorphosed, so it is banded magnetite quartzite. Based on the grade of metamorphism and associated rocks, the banded iron formations in the study are classified into two. One is banded iron formations in the northeast of Calicut, which is associated with granulites, and the predominant rock type is magnetite, quartzite, grunerite gneiss. And second one is the banded iron formations in the south of Calicut, which is magnetite, quartz, hypocene gneiss, hosted by TTG and Chanakite. Next is the textural interpretation of BIFs from ore petrography. In the northeast of Calicut, the major texture noticed is martite, and it is formed as a result of martitization. It is the process of transformation of magnetite by hematite along its cleavage planes. Three types of martites are recognized. One is the trellis texture martite, which results from the replacement of magnetite by the hematite along its cleavage plane, which looks like a trellis pattern, so it is known as trellis texture. The second one is a skeletal martite, and the third one is the porous martite, which contain pores. And the image C and D represents the plane polarized image and the cross polarized image of martite. And the texture resulting from metamorphism include the transformation of grunerite to phyllite. And during the metamorphism, the magnetite also recrystallizes, and this is indicated by the poikilotic texture in which the phyllite has numerous inclusions of magnetite. And the textures in the south of second one, the textures in the south of Calicut, and this represents the process of supergene enrichment. Three stages of replacement textures are noticed in this area. Stage one, which includes the replacement of magnetite by hematite along the cleavage planes and fractures, results to the form of martite. This is due to the interaction with H plus ions. And in stage two, as the time goes, the rate of weathering leads to the replacement of earlier formed martite to more hydrous goethite. And the replacement starts from the corners and advances towards the center. This phase also replaces other gangue phases like quartz from the rock. The stage 3, which represents the advanced weathering at the surface, which is indicated by the development of pores by complete dissolution of gangue phases, and it destroys all primary textures. And the pores that are occupied by the growth of coliform goethite. So these are the indications of supergene enrichment. So from the textural interpretations, the banded iron formations in south of Calicut are enriched through the process of supergene. Supergene enrichment is a mineral deposit or enrichment formed near the surface by descending fluids, whereas hypogene deposits are formed below the surface by hydrothermal activity. Here, the superficial weathering processes leads to the development of stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3 mineralization, which is evidence for supergene enrichment. So my conclusions, the petrographic studies reveals that the banded iron formations in the Nilagiri block are characterized by amphibolite facies metamorphism in the northeast of Calicut and granulite facies metamorphism in the south of Calicut. Geologic settings and occurrence, as well as some previous studies, indicates that the BIFs falls in the Algoma type deposits of Archean age. The magnetite, which is realized by martite, hematite, and goethite by meteoric influences, is represented by post-metamorphic retrogression. Then evidence of supergene enrichment. Weathering leads to the alteration and replacement of primary minerals by secondary minerals. Three stages of alteration with three distinct characteristics are characterized in this area. pseudomorphic replacement of original magnetite by hematite, which leads to the texture called martite. Dissolution of gangue phases leads to the development of microporosity, and then the pores are occupied by secondary coliform goethite. The absence of microplaty hematite precludes hydrothermal fluid activity in the terrain. Such activity has not been reported in any study from the Nilagiri block. And that's the end of my presentation. These are the references. Thank you.
Thank you, Radhika. I invite questions for Radhika. Answer.
Radhika, what is the reason that the banded iron formation in one sector are amphibolite facies, the other north and south, the other granulite facies? What is the reason for that? What is the explanation for that?
Sir, at the beginning, some of the grunerite is transformed to firelight, and this is due to some sudden change in pressure or temperature. And so this may cause the formation of granulite ray.
No, normally are these, do they have a well-developed fabric?
Yes,
Do
sir.
they have viscosity? So that is normally a result of a convergent a mountain building or an
Yes,
orogenic event. So with what orogenic event these are related? Because you are saying that they are one is amphibolite facies, the other is granulite facies. Whether this is a sort of a Barrovian or increasing, or there is a spatio-temporal relationship with this, or it is independent, that these two are two totally different deposits.
Sir, the mineral assemblages are and sir, the mineral assemblages in the Nilagiri block are as a result of subduction accretion techniques. So that plays a major role in this formation.
Okay, I have no more question, Asha.
Anupam, sir.
Radhika, I will ask you a very basic question. You are talking about supergene concentration in this body, rock body, or ore bodies. So this supergene concentration is of course fluid assisted. Now, what is the source of the fluids? Do you think? I mean, you have any idea whether they are hydrothermal fluids from some deeper magmatic body, or some other source, or maybe meteoric water which has gone down through fractures, then heated up, and then again came up, which is a model for many manganese supergene concentration in manganese deposits like that here also. Have any idea?
Sir, this is mainly due to the tropical weathering, so meteoric water is the major influence.
No, is it only meteoric water which has enriched the rocks, or it is some deeper hydrothermal fluids?
Sir, I don't know about that because it is my part of my MSc
Yeah, that's
dissertation.
absolutely fine. You are very young. We understand that. Only thing is, you can be curious about these things and ask your supervisor, or look in the relevant literature. That will advance you in your understanding. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anindita.
Yes. So you told that these banded iron formations, they are very old rock of Archean age, right? So what is the timing of this enrichment, the iron ore enrichment? Any idea on that?
Actually, the iron enrichment is after the formation of these deposits,
Right.
and it is currently going on, and the enrichment is currently going on.
Okay, so it is a recent process.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Radhika? If not, then we will move to the next presenter, Jaya Rai, who will be presenting on fabric analysis of mesometer scale geologic structures. Yes, Jaya, you can start your presentation. Am I audible to you, Jaya?
Yeah, I think she's presenting.
Hello,
Yes, Jaya, you can start.
am I audible and visible, ma'am?
Both. You are fine, doing fine.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good noon. Myself, Jaya Rai from Banasli Vidyapeeth. The subject for my talk is reconstruction of kinematic evolution of Surin Muscar anticline with the help of fabric analysis of mesometer scale geologic structures using anisotropic magnetic susceptibility. The research work had been carried out at Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology under the eminent guidance of Dr. R.J. Perumal and has been also submitted as the dissertation work of my master's program. So first of all, I will like to share the outline of this presentation. First of all, I will talk about the study area, then I will head to the objectives. Then I will talk about the analytical techniques where I had encompassed the magnetic mineralogy and fabric analysis of SMA and the petrography of SMA. Finally, I would like to talk about the kinematic evolution of SMA, and then I will conclude with the results and conclusion. So first of all, talking about the study area, the Himalayan and Tibetan orogenic system is one of the most impressive geologic creation of our planet, where the signatures of various geological activities are very well preserved. This anticline, the Surin Musgar anticline in Jammu Kashmir sub-Himalayas is also one such signature. The SMA extends between the rivers Beas and Chenab and is the southernmost fold of the Jammu Hills. It has been interpreted that the anticline is fault-based because of its huge continuous length and is unaffected by the structures on either side. This is a geological map of the SMA. The lower Shivalik strata is exposed in the core of the anticline, while the upper Muri strata has been exposed over the younger Shivalik strata, and they have been brought to light by the MKT thrust, that is Mandali Kishanpur thrust, in the northeastern limit of the anticline. The anticline is a tightly folded cuspate anticline with a fault running in its crestal part. The Jammu Kashmir Himalayas merge with the Indo-Gangetic plain in the south with a characteristic smooth fan-in fan topography, and the SMA marks the frontal portion of this region, and hence it's termed to be the frontal anticline. In the northwest Himalayas, there is the existence of physiographic breakdown due to the change in the physiography of that area from the sub-Himalayan portion to the alluvial plain, northern Indian plain. And this characterizes the HFT, Himalayan frontal thrust. And in few areas or portions, when HFT fails to produce such breakdowns and ruptures, the anticlines such as SMA may grow, and this might result due to the strain buildup in the area. Further, owing to various controversial inferences carried out by the previous research works, the inferences has been like in terms of the insights of the anticline, such as shortening rate, nature of anticline, shortening space accommodation, while the uplift of Himalaya, etc. So this study has been carried out using AMS and petrographic study to infer about the tectonosedimentary activities of the anticline, the kinematic evolution of the anticline, and the petrographic deformations and variations in the lithological units over the anticline. This is a sample location map along the axial trace of the anticline. Further, heading towards the objectives of the study, following objectives were tried to attain through the study. First of all, we had tried to deduce about the changes that the lithological units has undergone in the SMA, and this has been carried out with the help of studying petrographic deformations and changes at microstructural and textural level. Further, we had determined the magnetomineralogy and the fabric type distribution along the SMA, and with the help of these two objectives, we had tried to ascertain the tectonosedimentary setting of the SMA, and further by correlating all the above studies, we had tried to reconstruct the kinematic evolution of the anticline. So now talking about the methodology that has been adopted in the study, due to very vast and broad extension, we can see in this figure, due to very broad and vast extension, the anticline has been divided into two transects. First is Samba Udhampur, that is Jammu transect, and other is Pathankot Dalhousie section, that is Ravi transect. Total 23 samples were collected from these areas, and total 288 cores were drilled out of these samples, and these cores were examined with the help of an instrument, that is Kappa Bridge instrument, KLY3S at Wadia, and this instrument gives us the information related to AMS examination. Further, the research has been carried out into two investigations. The fabric analysis and magnetomineralogy has been done by the help of AMS study, and the petrographic deformation has been carried out by slide study. So first of all, talking about the magnetomineralogy of the SMA, the minerals has been classified into two parts, that is ferromagnetic and paramagnetic, by Bouches in 1997 on the basis of the mean magnetic susceptibility, it is bulk magnetic values of the samples, and ferromagnetic samples have the bulk magnetic susceptibility values greater than 500 mu SI, and paramagnetics have less than 500 mu SI. So talking about this SMA particularly, the paramagnetic mineralogy is dominantly present over here, and the bulk magnetic susceptibility value ranges between 90 to 400 mu SI. And only 6 samples in the whole anticline has been found to possess ferromagnetic mineralogy, and the bulk susceptibility value is greater than 500 for them. And the presence of these ferromagnetic mineralogies has been indicated only in the areas proximal to the hinge line and the Mandali-Kishanpur thrust, that is MKT. And as we move towards the distal part from the hinge and this thrust shown, there is a significant decrease in the susceptibility value, and this indicates a dominance of paramagnetic minerals in the other portions of the anticline. Further, moving to the fabric analysis of the SMA, like we have carried out the fabric analysis at transact level. So after plotting the magnetic susceptibility values that we got from the Kappa bridge while the AMS study was done, we had plotted these stereo nets, and with the help of these, we have tried to deduce the type of fabric that is present in each transact in different portions. So first of all, talking about the Ravi transact, we got to know that the hinge, near hinge, and the limb portion in the Ravi transact are characterized by tectonic types of fabric, while the portion proximal to the MKT is characterized by the sedimentary fabric. In Jammu transact, similarly, we got to know that the hinge and areas proximal to the MKT are characterized by sedimentary type of fabric, while the limb is characterized by the intermediate type of fabric. We can see this in these diagrams. These diagrams were proposed by Antolin, and from these stereo net plottings, we can deduce about the types of fabrics that are present in each transact. So further talking about the fabric frequency, the distribution of each type of fabric, then we got to know that the sedimentary and intermediate type of fabric account for 39.13% of occurrence and distribution, while the tectonic fabric accounts for 21.739% distribution only. So further moving to the petrographic study of the SMA, the quartz is a dominant mineral present over here, and it accounts for 20 to 50% of the total grain volume. And local stress development and strain release is very evident in this area, and it can be evidenced in forms of fractures, sutured grain margins, deformed grains, etc. Further, quasi-plastic to frictional type of deformation are evident in this portion highly, and they can be evidenced by the presence of kink bands, ribbon microstructures, deformation bands, sutured grain boundaries, etc. Existence of quasi-plastic deformation and their succession and overprinting by elastico-frictional type of deformation is evident. There are various examples for this. One such very prominent example is the former formation of kink bands and further boundary migration and bending of these kink bands of mica. Now moving to the kinematic evolution of the SMA, based on the susceptibility plotted axes that I have already shown in the earlier slides, we had deduced that sedimentary fabric is dominantly present over the MKT, and this indicates lack of recent deformation activity in that area. Further, in Jammu transact, the hinge region shows the dominance of sedimentary fabric. This again indicates the lack of deformation in this area, while the hinge and near hinge portion in Ravi transact are of predominantly tectonic in nature, and these tectonic fabrics are also predominantly present in the limb region of the Ravi transact. While on contrary, the limb, okay, the limb portion of SMA is showing the intermediate type of fabric, and this type of fabric develops due to the overprinting of tectonic signature over sedimentary. So it has been interpreted that the northern limb is more active in both Jammu and Ravi transact, and the activation is more in the Ravi transact as compared to the Jammu transact. These are generalized block diagrams for these two regions. Further, one more evidence is in the support of above interpretation, that is Jelinek plot, and this plot indicates the presence of oblique type of fabrics that indicates strong flattening events occurring in this region, and due to the flattening of sediments in both regions is accounted to the space accommodation activity occurring along the anticline, while the anticline is shortening more and more to accommodate more space as the origin is uplifting. Further, I would like to conclude myself with the results and conclusion. We had found that temperature elevation due to stress accumulation has resulted in attainment of low to medium grade of metamorphism. And one such example is sericitization of feldspar. Dynamic recrystallization event is also evident here. And we had also seen accompanied occurrence of quasi-plastic and brittle type of deformation. Even small scale semi-brittle deformation structures such as micro crackings, fracturing, kink bands, etc. are also seen. And they also evident the quasi-plastic type of deformation followed by the overprinting of elastico-frictional deformation. Now, we had also come to know that the paramagnetic mineralogy is the main mineral that is controlling the main magnetic susceptibility over the area, and ferromagnetic minerals make up a very small percentage, but they are significantly contributing towards the bulk susceptibility. And also the sedimentary to tectonic type of fabrics are ranging, and this has been concluded on the basis of magnetic susceptibility axis. And further, it has been concluded that the SMA has been polydeformed, and this can be attributed on the basis of higher anisotropic degree values, and strong flattening can be supported by the presence of greater value of shape parameter, that is T, for the oblate fabrics. Further, the presence of tectonic fabrics in hinge and near hinge zone suggests the rotation of the anticline on account of its growth to accommodate more and more space while the shortening is occurring. The northern limb and hinge and near hinge portions of the anticline are reactivated, and the reactivation is more in the Ravi Transact as compared to the Jammu Transact. And on the basis of all the above studies and inferences, it has been concluded that SMA is a simple detachment fold where the maximum deformation is possessed at its core. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaya. I would like to invite questions for Jaya. Anupam sir.
May I ask a question? Jaya,
Yes, sir.
hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sir.
You have in the last 2-3 slides, you have made some statements which you should revisit. First thing is sericitization of feldspar. It doesn't indicate
Yes, sir.
of temperature. It is actually a fluid-assisted breakdown of feldspar, generally during shearing or some kind of low-grade retrogressive deformation. Retrogressive
Yes,
reaction.
sir.
So it doesn't indicate medium metamorphic grade at all. Very low metamorphic grade is sufficient. Metamorphic temperature is
Sir,
sufficient.
I had mentioned here that low to medium grade of
So
metamorphism.
low to medium grade cannot be sustained by this statement of sericitization of feldspar. It is a fluid-assisted breakdown, usually at a very low temperature. First thing. Second thing is it doesn't actually. In the next one, you are saying that deformation band, ribbon microstructure. These are showing you quasi-plastic to brittle deformation, which is also
Yes,
not
sir.
really correct, because they are typically recovery recrystallization microstructures which take place at a low strain rate and a relatively higher temperature than the sericitization
Yes,
of
sir.
other phenomena. So do you have different temperature regimes of different temperature deformation at different temperature in the different temperature ranges, so that you should later try to identify. You are very young, so obviously you may not be able to identify these things right now, but talk to your guide so that in future you can do these things. Okay, and just ask and
Yeah,
answer
sir, sure.
one question. Why did you resort to AMS studies instead of doing the fabric study directly of these these sandstones or quartzites?
Sir, actually, AMS is a non-destructive type of technique.
No,
So
that
we
is
can
fine.
deform.
But did you what was the problem of identifying the structures, the different types of microstructures in the microscope, and the foliations and generations of different foliations or fold structures in the field? Why do you need
Yeah.
all these kinds of AMS plots, Jelinek plots, and things for identifying that this is one folding, or this indicates strain accumulation, or this can be done only by field work and by microscopy?
Sir, actually, we preferred AMS as one of the technique because there were no very strong and evident strain markers in the field. So we preferred for AMS because AMS does not need any particular strain marker like presence of fossils, etc. So we also opted it as a technique along with petrographic study to deduce about the distribution of the types of fabrics in various portions.
Okay, so there is not enough mica or other minerals which could show you the foliations in the field.
Sir, it were there, but since the area has been weathered highly, so the prominent features were highly weathered.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions for Jaya? If not, then we come to a end of this session. We have, it was a pretty,
Thank you,
thank
Ashok.
you. Yeah, sir, I will
Anindita
offer
will-
my concluding remarks. We had actually two sessions under this theme of petrology, tectonics, and metallurgy. One was the morning session headed by Anupam sir, and we had this noon session. I'll be basically focusing on noon session.
So you can't be heard.
Am I clear?
Now it's
Okay. We heard various topics during this noon session. We had this study on magnetic susceptibility. We also had studies which were done using traditional techniques in structural deformation studies by using digital mapping, as Triparna has presented. And we even traveled to the planetary world, and we saw that how remote techniques can be harnessed to understand the planetary processes, which is not possible to us. Traditional, we have very clearly, this session has shown us that traditional techniques and state-of-the-art geoanalytical advances in the geoanalytical techniques, which are currently making rounds, it is actually changing the landscape of the geoscience research. And I offer my big round of applause to all the young presenters. A very big thank you to Anindita as well for accompanying me on this session. And I think this session was actually befitting to the theme of our seminar, Recent Advances in Geosciences, because it actually covered a range of topics from traditional studies to state-of-the-art things, traveling to even to the planetary world. Thank you. And I invite Anupam sir to conclude the morning session.
Yeah, good afternoon. We are at the end of the first day's first theme, that is the tectonics, petrology, tectonics, and metallurgy in two sessions. And in the first morning session, which I chaired, in that we had 9 presentations. Out of 10, one was absent. So that included a lot of different kinds of work, from hardcore metamorphic work by Jeev Jetan and Aditya, and then from very new kind of studies like SAR based geodynamic studies presented by Srijan, and then more conventional studies like structural and tectonic investigation of different types of granitoids and the field relationships, etc. Some amount of mechanical analysis of veins which are applicable to gold deposits and sort of things. So it is a very varied kind of presentations that we have seen in the first session. And as mentioned by Oshima, in the second session also we saw a lot of varied presentations, especially with new techniques like digital mapping and planetary analysis of the moon's crater, etc. by Nobomita. So this is a very exciting thing to see that the young researchers are presenting from different aspects of geology, and I am happy to see the session successfully completed well within time. I think Pankaj is smiling because we have already finished ahead of time. So right now, I thank my reporter, Dr. Rupam Ghosh, and the second session's reporter, our young colleague, Dr. Anindita De, of course, Ashima, you, and I hand it over to Pankaj for beginning of the next session. Thank you.
Just to remind that you have to send a brief highlights.
Yeah, I have asked Rupam to make a highlight of the first session, and I think Anindita will make the second one. He'll combine and then send you.
Yeah, combined of the two, one page highlight will be.
That will.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir.
Okay.
Anindita, you talk to Rupam once, and then you I send both the things to me and Ashima.
Yes, sir. Sure.
And then,
Pankaj, you are mute.
Sorry, sir. Thank you, Anupam, Ashima, Anandita, and Rupam. You all have done so beautifully and carefully that you have finished it much before, 15 minutes ahead of that one. So we are having 15 minutes of leisure. I think all of you can do something here. So we spend 15 minutes. Or our now, should I hand it over to Professor Devesh Shina?
Oh, I can sing a song then.
Okay, then you can do it.
No, speaker is not here.
This if the speaker is there, we can actually begin early because in the evening we have a long list. But he's not there, as you say.
So
I
that is
think
why I
we
said
should
we have
begin
got
at
15
3
minutes a
o'clock.
gap.
Because it's not the only speaker, it is the audience also who have been informed. So they will be joining at 3 o'clock. So we will start at 3 o'clock.
So 15 minutes, I think all of you can go and have a cup of tea.
That's better.
Tea break कर देते हैं.
sir.
Tea break कर दो.
Tea break. So have a tea break. Enjoy a cup of tea from your kitchen.
इसको या तो ऑन रहने दो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
हाँ, ये ऑन है सर, इसमें कोई ऑफ नहीं करेगा.
Maybe Dr. Nigam would log in and other people will also log in.
This is already on, so there's nobody will do it.
दादा चाय दो. म्यूट करके बोलते हो तो हेड का आवाज कैसे सुनाई दे?
आवाज तो ज्यादा. तुम इधर डिपार्टमेंट में तो नहीं हो, तुम तो अपना कमरे में बैठे, घर में बैठे हो.
हाँ, तो घर में कौन चाय, तुम्हारा काम है ना, चाय हमको भिजवाओ.
चाय अभी घर में तुम वर्चुअल चाय पी लो. मैं चाय पी के दिखाऊं आपको? ऐसे देखो, ऐसे करके पीना पड़ता है. ऐसे करके पियो.
अब वर्चुअल हो रहा है लेकिन बहुत बढ़िया हो रहा है.
बहुत अच्छा हो रहा है.
कॉन्फ्रेंस इज गोइंग ऑन exceedingly well.
Yeah. And everything has been very well planned. Pankaj and his team must be given the highest of accolades. They have done excellent planning.
Congratulations. मैं वदावन बोल रहा हूँ. अनुपम जी,
Vadan sir, how are you?
फाइन, एक्सीलेंट. बट मेरा एक छोटा शिकायत है यार, आप लोग इतना लेट इंफॉर्मेशन ट्रांसमिट किए हैं. आई मीन जस्ट ए नाइट बिफोर वी लर्न दैट आप ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं इतना लार्ज स्केल में.
नहीं, पंत साहब, अच्छा ये पता नहीं है, लेकिन इसीलिए तो ज्वाइनिंग का इंफॉर्मेशन तो पंत साहब ने भेजा था सबको.
नहीं, सबको बहुत पहले भेजना चाहिए था, सो दैट यू सी आई कुड मोबिलाइज मेनी मोर पर्सन्स टू अटेंड इट. इट इज सच ए नाइसली ऑर्गेनाइज्ड, इतना हाई क्वालिटी प्रेजेंटेशंस आप अरेंज कराए हैं, तो इट वुड हैव बेनिफिटेड द एंटायर जियोसाइंस कम्युनिटी.
एक्चुअली डॉक्टर साहब क्या हुआ था ना, वी वर आल्सो अ बिट एप्रीहेंसिव, क्योंकि इसमें जो यूनिवर्सिटी तो आधा बंद है. अब इस सिचुएशन में गूगल मीट में हम लोग पूरा कर पाएंगे कि नहीं, हम लोगों का भी थोड़ा सा एप्रीहेंशन था. इसीलिए वी डिडंट एक्सपेंड इट टू मच. बाद में जब पता चला कि यहाँ सब ठीक ठाक हो रहा है, तो देन वी स्टार्टेड.
यार अपने पुराने एलुमनी, हमारे यूनिवर्सिटी के पुराने साथियों को तो इन्फॉर्म कर दिया करो यार गुरु टाइम से.
We can do it again, sir.
हाँ, नहीं वो I talk to डॉक्टर, हमारे जो पूज्य गुरुजी हैं, तो बनर्जी दादा से भी मेरी बात हुई. बोले यार मुझे भी अभी पता चल रहा है. तो मैंने यार ऐसे कैसे, इतना लेट कैसे कर रहे हो आप लोग. बट इट्स रियली वेरी नाइसली ऑर्गेनाइज्ड. कांग्रेचुलेशंस टू ऑल ऑफ यू. पंकज साहब, आपको तो हम देखे हैं वहाँ AMD के इंटरव्यू में भी, आप दिल्ली आए हुए थे. So I was holding that from Jaipur actually.
थैंक यू सर। इसमें क्या ना इशू क्या है ना, हम लोग को ये अप्रैल में करना था, लेकिन ये जो चल रहा है ना अभी पैंडेमिक, इसकी वजह से
हाँ।
एवरीथिंग इन अनसर्टेन।
That's
हमें
right.
ये भी नहीं पता था ये वाला हम लोग कर पाएंगे कि नहीं कर पाएंगे।
नहीं ये
देयर आर लॉट ऑफ इश्यूज विद द सिस्टम हियर।
ओके
हमारा नेट नहीं चलता है, हमारे वहाँ लाइट नहीं आता है, तो वो सब बहुत सारे इश्यूज थे। अभी भी हम लोग जो है ना 3 जगह पे बैठ करके ये कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं।
नहीं आप लोग एक तो बहुत अच्छा है कि एब्स्ट्रैक्ट वॉल्यूम भी रिलीज कर दिए हैं, दैट इज वेरी गुड कंपाइलेशन, वेरी गुड। बट एक चीज हो रहा है यार, आप लोगों का प्रोग्राम जो है ना वो डिटेल्स विद टाइमिंग्स, पॉसिबल टाइमिंग्स, वो शायद सेपरेट आपने रिस्ट्रिक्टेड किया है। कुछ एक लोगों को ही पता है कि कौन कब कितने टाइम में बोलने वाला है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी राजीव निगम का मुझे मैसेज अभी आया कि वो अभी 3 बजे बोलेगा। तो नेचुरली देयर आर स्पीकर्स बट कीनोट स्पीकर्स को सुनने के लिए भी हम लोग अपना माइंड खुला रखते हैं। तो टाइमिंग्स आप लोग पहले से अगर सर्कुलेट किए होते, ये इस टाइम से इस टाइम तक चलेगा, पॉसिबल है always some last minute contingencies, but overall I'm really happy to be attending your show. It's really great.
So this is our first attempt. We will do it much better in next time.
Sure, definitely.
दूसरा जो है हम इंटरनेशनल कर देंगे।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल। और दिवेश साहब का तो मैं डिटेल्स जो इतना ही सच ए डेकोरेटेड पर्सन, अभी सस्टेनेबल स्कूल आपने एक नया खुलवाया सर, ये अलग से इसके लिए कोर्सेज अलग से शुरू कर रहे हैं, ओनली रिसर्च प्रोग्राम्स करवा रहे हैं?
ये एक्चुअली गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का एक फ्लैगशिप प्रोग्राम इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ एमिनेंस है, तो वो 10 यूनिवर्सिटीज को मिला है इंडिया में।
ओके।
तो उस इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ एमिनेंस के ही तहत हम लोगों ने एक स्कूल ऑफ ये बनाया है, दिल्ली स्कूल ऑफ क्लाइमेट चेंज एंड सस्टेनेबिलिटी। तो बिकॉज ऑफ कोविड सारी चीजें जो है वो डिले हो गई, बट वी हैव अ वेरी एम्बिशियस प्रोग्राम टू स्टार्ट वेरी सून।
नहीं तो ये वेयर इज इट हाउस्ड? इज इट पार्ट ऑफ द जियोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट इटसेल्फ या अलग से इसका कुछ?
No, it is Delhi University.
That means a separate building may be there, or maybe separate
A
setup.
separate building has already been inaugurated by the education minister.
Okay.
And one building is proposed also
Okay.
in front of zoology department, big building.
In front of zoology तो एक बहुत बड़ा lawn हुआ करता था यार, I don't know whether it's still there. एक बहुत बड़ा garden था वहाँ पे।
उसी में there are going to be very big building for this, because government is giving 1,000 crores
Okay.
for this whole.
That used to be a good green patch actually. That was the beauty of our Delhi campus.
Yeah.
And those were the days when multi-storied complex, right? Okay. Good sir. Actually, I'm associated with Amrita University, so I'll be in touch with you because they are also our chancellor, Amrita Devi. So last year से they have fully funded PhD program on sustainable development, and since 2013 they are having one beautiful experiential learning program that is called Live in Lab. That means they have adopted nearly 100 villages all over India, and the multidisciplinary teams from Amrita University, engineering background, medical background, they visit these adopted villages, a team of scholars and some faculty also, and then they live with them and identify the problems that these people are facing.